This is the Pershing 8X. Yes, it's built in Italy, but they are seriously popular here in South Florida. Why? Well, just look at it. And if you want to get out to the islands quickly, well, this will do the best part of 50 knots. By the way, it's over 80 foot long and weighs nearly 60 tons. There's loads of cool stuff going on board this thing. Let's get on board and have a closer look. I'm Jack Haines. Welcome to YachtBuyer. Let's start down here at the waterline then. Pershing do not want your tender sitting back here cluttering up these beautiful lines, so everything is stuffed away in a tender garage, which we can't open here because it's too close to the dock and it moves out before it moves up. But in there you can get a Williams 345 and a jet ski, and you've got the Seabob sitting there. I think that's just for show. But yeah, all your toys tucked away in there. Passerelle is here, obviously that shoots out and goes over to the quayside if you're moored stern too. Love these carbon fibre poles that hold up the canopy that comes off the back of the coaming there. Really lovely detail. These 8X boarding gates, absolutely no doubt about what you're coming on board when you come into the cockpit of this thing. In the cockpit, quite a short overhang, but then as I said, you've got a canopy that comes out and gives you a bit of protection over this huge sun pad. Really quite a simple layout here. L-shaped seating that will be nicely protected. You won't get too much wind funneling down here, so this is a nice sheltered spot. And there's some clever stuff over here because you've actually got a little wet bar built in to this coaming here. So you've got a little sink here, and then you've got a grill back here. How you're supposed to clean that when it's nowhere near a sink, I have no idea, but that is for the crew to deal with. Inside, another clever little trick is when these doors slide across like this, and then they can drop right down into the deck. That creates a really nice connection between the cockpit and the saloon. People could genuinely be sitting inside if they want to get out the elements, or sit in the cockpit, and you can all still be part of the same conversation. It works really well. And there are so many buttons to push on this boat. Everything is button controlled. The blinds on both sides. There's a blind on this back window as well. The TV pops up from here at the push of a button. The inner 8-year-old love this boat. The way it looks, the speed, the drama, all the button pushing. Absolutely love it. You know, Pershing, it's quite a simple formula, but it's pretty intoxicating even when it's standing still. This is a really nice, comfortable, relaxing area opposite the TV. You can crash out, watch a film, watch some sport. I should point out this is an American spec boat, so it's got some changes. This is an option to have this bar here, but it's really nice because you can hold court, you're still part of the conversation. You've got cooling space here, a sink, so you can prepare drinks for your guests here, and you can always be part of the activities that are going on. And it's quite a nice way to section this living area off from this incredible Helm Station, which we're going to have a closer look at. I haven't stood in front of many Helms that scream drive me more than this one. It's so cool, imposing. I love the single spoke steering wheel, these massive screens that are right in your eye line. The fact that you've got the joystick on one side, the throttles on the other. Let's remember there's over 5,000 horsepower connected to these things. And one of the things about having surface drives is they can be a bit intimidating. You have to think about trimming them at slow speed. Back in the day they used to be pretty aggressive. Now of course everything is just through a joystick, and you can control everything individually. There are individual toggles down here for the trim of the drives themselves and the trim of the tabs, or you just press auto and all you have to worry about is the speed, and the boat does everything else. Talking of speed, yeah, nearly 50 knots at the top end. Cruise at 40 knots for a range of 300 nautical miles. And that really is what sets Pershing apart in this market. Performance is first, style is first, and then everything else just really falls into line. But a pretty special place to drive a boat from. And one final thing to point out before we head down to look at the accommodation is this being a sports bridge, there is a sunroof above this area as well. You've got blinds so you can get some shade, but they open up and you've got a nice big piece of glass, and then the whole thing peels back so you can open yourself up to the elements at the touch of a button. I mentioned on deck that this American spec boat has some changes, and one of them is this media lounge, as they call it. You can have another cabin here, but this is like a little cinema room basically. You've got your massive TV here, really comfy sofas. If the weather's absolutely appalling or the kids are bored of sunbathing, they can come down here, stick the telly on, and away they go. And then you're into the cabins, and actually it's a really nice arrangement. You've got a double VIP forward with a private ensuite. Day heads down here, but that is also the ensuite to this twin cabin here. Again, a couple of single berths, but it's a good size, nice amount of storage, you know, really usable cabin, should be on an 80-foot boat. But the main event when it comes to the cabin spaces is of course the master, which is amidships. Yes, it is a particularly nice cabin this. You do come down a bit of a big step, but then once down, it's completely flat around what is a nice wide low set bed. Another enormous TV opposite, bags of headroom. It's classy, it's cool, it's just dripping with Italian style as you'd expect really. You benefit from the hull windows here, quite a sort of traditional hull window line. There isn't massive glass in this hull, but it's where it matters, which is down here at the waterline, waking up in an anchorage. That's where you want to have those windows over the water. And then the ensuite is actually aligned behind the cabin, and one of the benefits of that, not only do you get almost the full beam of the boat, not quite, because there is a walk-in wardrobe there that gobbles up a bit of space, but it does run a nice way across the boat, but also it's another layer of insulation between yourselves and what is an engine room packed with machinery. So it has a bit of a double function. Right, let's head back up onto deck and see the rest of those spaces. Heading down the side decks, you can't ignore these arches. You know, they are a real significant part of this boat's character. There is part carbon fibre in the hull construction and in the superstructure. They talk about lowering the weight because it's better for efficiency. I mean, when you've got 5,000 horsepower downstairs, you can't really be talking about economy. However, every little helps, and of course it is going to help with performance, which is what these boats are all about. But on to the slightly more boring stuff, talking about crewing, which most owners won't worry about on a boat of this size. But if you are wondering, well, it's nice and easy. You've got lovely wide side decks, you've got big, tall, substantial guardrails, you've got a gate here in the guardrail, so if you're side two, you don't have to walk all the way to the back of the boat to get off. Pop-up cleats, can't ruin this boat's profile. Everything has to hide away. And then as you move forward, there's a door there to starboard. Actually, there's doors on both sides to get out to the side decks on either side. A bit of storage here. And then what is a really nice living space up here on the foredeck. Obviously, you haven't got a full-size Flybridge on this boat, so this area becomes more important. You've got a table to have some snacks, you've got sound system up here, sunbathing space with flip-up headrests. It's another really nice lounging space in its own right. But on deck, there was one more place to look at, and that's up there. These wings that arch out over the side decks are a key characteristic of this model, and it's quite nice how they've integrated this stairway up to the sun deck only into the port side one. Very subtly done. And up here, yeah, it's a sun deck. It's got a massive sun pad, it's got a bit of seating. You've obviously got the option of some shade overhead for the heat of the middle of the day, but there's not much more to it than that really, apart from the optional Helm Station. It is optional, but I'm reliably informed that pretty much everybody goes for it, and you can see why, because sitting in the middle of this boat with a joystick on one side, a pair of throttles underneath, and the potential to do nearly 50 knots, that is real rocket ship stuff. That would be quite some sensation driving this thing from up here. This is down the deck at the moment, the steering wheel. Obviously that rises up if you're actually going to drive the boat from up here. But yeah, I can see why this is such a popular option, because to pilot this thing from up here cruising at 40 knots, pretty special. Maybe it's to do with the styling of this thing, but I really wasn't expecting much from the crew quarters, but it's an impressive space. I mean, look at this galley. Size of it, it's really good. But remember, you haven't got a galley elsewhere on the boat, so this is also the owner's galley. Obviously it's set up for the crew to use it, but this is the reason it's so big, because this is the main cooking space on board. But you've got domestic appliances, Miele induction cooking, Miele oven, full-size fridge over here, fridge and freezer, really nice big sink, storage all over the place. And when it comes to the crew themselves, well, they've got a small dinette area here with a television. This table opens up, and you've got a single crew berth here, double bunks here. They aren't enormous, but you know, they'll do the job. And then if you move down this way, I've actually got quite a big, obviously separate bathroom, wet room, whatever you want to call it, but that's a decent size. And then you notice this ladder here. This is a hatch up into the cockpit, so you can quickly get down here if you need to from outside the boat. And then the door to the machinery. This is quite something. Yes, the beating heart of the ATEX. These twin NTUs with the best part of 2,600 horsepower each, connected to those surface drives, spewing a massive great rooster tail out the back of this thing. It really does look quite something when it's charging along but actually it's the engineering, the Ferretti Group inspired engineering that is also very impressive. It's an immaculate installation, it's really well lit. It's actually very easy to get to everything considering the sheer enormity of these two blocks. They did used to have a smaller engine option on the price list, but most owners just laugh them out the room. Every Pershing owner wants the biggest engine, and here they are. So there you have it, the Pershing 8X, another fine example of Pershing just doing its thing. And it's a very simple formula of style and performance, but a very effective one. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please give it a like and remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time YachtBuyer uploads a new video.